Did you know that 67 cents of every dollar spent at a small business stays in the community versus only 11 cents when you buy something from a national chain? That means each time you shop local, you're investing directly into the future of your community. District Bridges is all about making that even easier. It's been supporting small businesses in Wards 1, 2, and 3 for over a decade, making sure that the institutions that help our communities thrive and are here to stay. Follow District Bridges on Instagram at District Bridges to learn about volunteer opportunities, community cleanups, events, and more.
Today on CityCast DC, May is one of the best times in DC. We have that really narrow window of perfect springtime weather. There is a lot going on, and people actually seem, excited to be out and about. So to help you stave off FOMO, I'm sitting down with my colleagues Priyanka Tilve and Julia Karen for your guide to making the most of May in DC. Today's Thursday, May 1st. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Priyanka, Julia, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, great to be here.
Thanks, Bridget.
So I find May to be one of the times where my FOMO is the strongest. Is this a sentiment that you two share?
There's so much happening in the city right now. It's like I was just planning a hangout with some friends and we had to book for June. We're like all booked up for May. There's just too much going on.
It's the weather is finally nice. Rooftops start to open and everyone wants to get their fix. It's like, I feel like the spring and even in the fall, when the weather is like this nice out, it's always like this. It's just the FOMO ratchets up to a level where I simply cannot keep up.
Yeah, Bridget, I actually just pulled up the best patios to hang out in Columbia Heights, the list you'd written for our website a while back. I just pulled it up to decide where I was going to meet up with some friends soon.
Well, that is exactly why we do these monthly guide episodes, so that people can actually take a minute and plan out their month, what they want to go to, what they want to prioritize, what's going on. So you don't have to feel like you have to do everything, but you feel like you at least have the option to go to some of the things happening in DC because there's so much happening this May.
Yeah, May feels like a month where the urgency to do all the stuff just gets ratcheted up to a level that is very hard to keep up with, at least for me. And I imagine it's the same for you all.
Hopefully we help people feel like that's all more accessible with these tips and tricks we're about to lay out.
And speaking of urgency, if you really want to keep the tips and tricks about how you can make the most of your time in DC, keep them coming, how can folks do that?
Become a member. Do it.
We just relaunched our membership program as CityCast Neighbors. And so we've got all of these new perks with it. But the most important reason to become a CityCast neighbor is that you keep our show going and you keep our newsletter, Hey DC, going. We work really hard to try and, help you stave off FOMO, help you plan out your life, stay up to date on everything that the city council is doing. I also know that it's $10 a month. Maybe you're kind of stuck on that. But think about all of the times that we've helped you save money.
Yeah, we did episodes about underrated happy hours, meals under $10. We're working on an episode that I'm personally very excited about, which is cheap date nights, dates under $15. And a lot of our guides are about mostly how you can make the most out of things that are free, like our recent conversation about Adams Morgan and Petworth Porch Fest.
I can tell you right now, my event for May in this May guide is free. Think about that. That money that you're saving for the event, right towards being a neighbor.
So y'all, to become a CityCast DC neighbor, just go to membership.citycast.fm.
Yeah, $10 a month. You can do it. We really appreciate you. And just to kind of hit some of those perks that you're going to get, you'll get ad-free listening. You'll get a weekly events email to help you plan your week ahead. You'll get a really, really, really cute CityCast neighbor mug.
Yeah, it's like one of those diner mugs, it feels really good in your hand. Like the weight is good. The coffee smells better. There is something about a diner mug that I am obsessed with. I don't know about you guys, but the mug is great. 10/10.
And you'll get to be on Zoom with your colleagues, or when you have guests, you get to be smug. Like, ooh,
smug with your
journalism.
mug.
You can tell by my mug that I do that.
Be smug with your mug.
That's good. That is
Yes.
good. So it is not too late to support our membership drive and become a CityCast neighbor today. Go to membership.citycast.fm. That is membership.citycast.fm. And thank you so much. So we love starting out these monthly guide conversations with an activity that you do every single May. It is not May in DC until you do this thing. What is it for you two, Julia and Priyanka?
Longtime listeners know that I am arguably crazy when it comes to what I consider a decent sized walk.
Oh my God, you and like all of my friends. Oh, it's like not that long. Meanwhile, an hour later, you've like worn the wrong shoes. You have blisters. Like, come on.
Wear the right shoes, Julia.
I'm sorry.
I love a long walk. And so May is the perfect month for this because the sun is out for a decent amount of time. I'm doing multiple walks a day. I'm waking up early. I'm going for a long walk. If I can manage it, I sneak out for a short walk over lunch. After work, I'm normally doing rounds in Malcolm X Park, like literally just walking in circles, listening to music, listening to podcasts, talking to friends. And what I recently learned that's going to take my long walk habit to the next level is that in May, the Arboretum does extended hours on select Fridays, and so they're doing it on May 9th and May 30th. Beautiful place for a long-ass walk. I'm so psyched.
Come with me to take Sandy on her morning walk, on her afternoon woodsy walkies, on her evening walk. I do 3 walks a day because of my dog. Bridget, what about you? How do you know it's gonna be May in DC, as it were?
Well, to complete the theme of all of us liking to be outside, I mean, this is sort of a cliche, but May is sort of the unofficial opening of camping season. And so a lot of people who enjoy camping will go camping on Memorial Day, which is in late May. I enjoy a little bit more of a colder camp at night. And so, like, if you've not already made your plans to camp on Memorial Day, it's probably a little bit too late. But I like to do it a little earlier when it's a little bit crisper in the air. So yeah, generally every May I will go camping, and that's sort of my unofficial kickoff to camping season. I mean, I'm certainly not alone. Memorial Day in May is the most popular time to go camping.
Where do you go? Like, what's your favorite camping spot that's close by?
So you can go camping an hour and change from DC if you hit like Shenandoah, that area. But I feel like to actually find like actual wild, actual like wilderness, you have to go about 3.5 hours away. West Virginia, I think, gives you your best bang for your buck in terms of not too far, but still in some actual wild wilderness.
Also, like, it's the Blue Ridge Mountain area, and that area is just pretty all year round. Like, there's no going wrong whenever you visit, but I feel like, yeah, at the start of May, when it's, like, pretty and sunny and the Blue Ridge starts to look a little bit more green, right? Because all the leaves are coming back. It is stupidly pretty. Like, it should be illegal, but it's not.
Yeah, like, it's not illegal. We can go, we have access to that whenever we want. So, yeah, we should make use of it. The show playing right now at Gala Theater is an absolute must-see. Choke is about a Latino family in Baltimore navigating a medical crisis and the impacts of environmental change. And I know what you're thinking, that sounds pretty serious, but they handle it all with humor and wit and a very relatable touch of chaos. It is actually so funny. And I mean, what family doesn't deal with generational clashes? The Guerrero family is a gripping reflection of today's American society, and the play about them is as thought-provoking as it is entertaining. So come see the world premiere of Choke at Gala Theater today through May 18th. Get your tickets at galatheater.org or call 202-234-7174. That's 202-234-7174 to see Choke at the Gala Theater right now.
Are you still looking for that last-minute Mother's Day gift? Combine your love for local and your love for mom by taking her to the Capitol Hill Restoration Society House and Garden Tour. The tour features 13 beautiful homes and gardens and 3 semi-public buildings on Capitol Hill. Your mom will feel like royalty exploring some of DC's most elegant historic buildings with you. There's even a refreshment break with treats from local vendors included. The tour runs Mother's Day weekend, May 10th and 11th. Tickets are usually $50, but you can get them for $40 if you book before Mother's Day weekend. Buy tickets through Eventbrite or through the Restoration Society website, chrs.org. So it is hard year after year to find meaningful Mother's Day gifts for all the moms in your life. But if there's one thing that's a sure hit with my mom, it's pictures of me. Well, actually, pictures of my kids. But sharing photos with loved ones is complicated, especially with less tech-savvy family members. Thankfully, Aura's Carver Matte frame keeps it simple. Setup takes less than 2 minutes, and the whole family can share as many photos as they want, completely remotely. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver Matte frame. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code CityCast. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, Julia, that is such a good tip for making the most of May in DC. What else y'all got?
Okay, so I, in May, do a lot of my spring cleaning. I think last year my recommendation was to like clean your AC filters because they're gross and full of pollen. It's disgusting, but like wear your, N95 mask that you have left over from COVID, just get it done and it's fine. But my tip every May is that when you're doing your spring cleaning, it doesn't have to be in one chunk, like 5 hours of your day. Spread it out. Make sure that you're like feeling it. Maybe one day it's like your medicine cabinet and you have a leave from like 5 years ago that has expired. Maybe it's that mascara that is way crusty and dusty and is older than 3 months, which is when you should be throwing out your mascara. If you have clothing that you don't wear, it's time to donate it. Maybe that is something you do for an hour. Figure out like what you actually wear. And if you have friends who are like roughly the same size and shape as you, text them. Say, hey, for example, I have button downs I just do not wear anymore. And so realistically, I just texted my friends, was like, hey, any of you want these recycled button downs? And lo and behold, someone wants them. So my tip is pace yourself when you're doing your May springtime cleaning. Again, it does not have to be all in one go unless you're a maniac and like that's a thing that you want to do. But you can break it out into little chunks and it's way more manageable.
You also won't be the only person in DC doing this. And so keep a lookout for clothing swaps. There are a lot of clothing swaps in DC in May every year. I just quickly Googled it while Julia was talking, and there's one happening at the Anacostia Arts Center on Sunday, May 25th. I think you have to pay $5 to attend, but then it's a clothing exchange and they're going to have a bunch of upcycle workshops there. So look out for that kind of stuff. Like that's why May is the perfect month in DC to do this.
Ooh, I will say be careful on the clothing swap thing because you could come with a big bag of stuff, be like, I'm going to get this out of my closet, and then be like me, and then return with an even bigger bag of stuff where you're like, well, this did not save me any closet space.
My tip is that energy costs have been absolutely insane lately. I'm getting sticker shock every single time I get my bill. And so it's been so lovely the last few days, and I'm excited to carry this through as much of May as possible. I'm just opening my windows. My energy costs will be very low because I'm just not using anything. I know that sometimes people have concerns about allergies with keeping your windows open. We actually have an article on our website about how to make your own like DIY, very easy air purifier, which should help. Like even if you have your window open, it should help purify the air to prevent allergies. That said, it's not a perfect solution and not everyone can do this. But if you can, pop some Zyrtec and open your windows, save some money.
It's not quite the screened-in porch that I want, but it's close enough in my third-story apartment. Yeah, the best is when you like can open windows to get that cross ventilation like in one area of your apartment and then in another area. And so that way it flows throughout the entire space. That is the way to do it.
I mean, this is really evidence of our warming planet, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I've lived in my apartment for 10 years and I only have air conditioning in one part of my apartment, which is not the part of the apartment I spend the most time. And for most of those 10 years, just a fan and the open back door and an open window was enough to cool my apartment. Not so anymore. Like, whew. So yeah, really take advantage of these days where an open window and a fan might do it.
Truly. Bridget, what about you? What's your tip?
Well, my tip is don't sleep on city services. I have a little story, which is that my neighbor, who I sometimes see out and about, somebody propped a soiled, discarded mattress up against their stoop. And it was there for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And eventually I was like, what's the deal with this mattress? Is it yours? What's happening? And they were like, oh, yeah, I just woke up and somebody put this mattress here. It's a real bummer. It smells. It bums me out every time I go in and out of my building. And I said, yo, 311 that. They will take care of it. I reported it to 311. A week later, it was gone, and I felt like a hero. I felt like a hero of the block. So I will say, don't sleep on 311. If there's something on your block that needs taken care of, you can be the person who takes care of it. Don't wait around for someone else to do it. They're not gonna. You're someone. You can call 311 and take care of it. That is my tip. And they're actually pretty good. They will give you a report of when they are planning on taking care of it. You can see the notes from the city, and you feel like you're really doing your part. And also, not for nothing, I feel like if there's stuff like that you've been putting on the back burner, now might be the time to take use of those city services. We don't know what's on the horizon for the city. And so if you've got something that you've been wanting to deal with it now.
Another thing that you should perhaps take care of right now is become a CityCast DC neighbor. We will not stop. We will
That's
not
your
stop.
tip.
We literally won't stop until we hit 85 members, people. I swear.
Yeah. And in fact, if we hit 85 members, we are willing to put our dignity on the line and we're going to share some photos. I have a photo from high school that is very embarrassing that I will send out over the newsletter. Julia has a photo from college she's going to share. Kayla, our newsletter editor, is also in. So get us to 85 members and we'll share not just the photos, but the stories behind them. And it's just another way of getting to know your favorite CityCast podcast and newsletter team.
I will say, if you're looking for something a little less embarrassing, the CEO of CityCast, David Plotz, hosts this Airbnb tour of Fort DeRussy. This thing is sold out. You cannot book it. But, and this is important, he is making an exception for CityCast members. So, if you become a member, you can book your tour of Fort DeRussy with CEO of CityCast, David Plotz. And he will schedule a time that works for you if you can't make the original date, which is, Priyanka?
We've actually already sold out the original date, so I'm not even going to say it. It's in May, but it's already sold out. So we've now set up a backup date of June 15th for anyone who signs up from this point forward. It's a time-consuming thing for CEO David Plotz to do, and it just kind of shows how much dedication we have to supporting our CityCast neighbors and providing you with things that are valuable and help you know DC better, help you appreciate DC. This is a really cool fort in the middle of Rock Creek Park, and it says a lot about DC's Civil War history, and you get to bring a +1. Sign up to become a CityCast DC neighbor today. Get access to this sold out, very cool fort tour. Get access to embarrassing photos, and most importantly, support our team so we can keep bringing you this podcast and newsletter. All you have to do is go to membership.citycast.fm.
And I will add something else, is that we were talking about the embarrassing photos, and I said, I've never taken an embarrassing photo, so I cannot participate. But I did give some thought to what I can offer listeners that might be embarrassing. I've lived in DC for, most of my life, kind of came of drinking age and like going out age here. And like, think back to when you were 20, 21, 22. I did all of those years in DC, and so did my friends. And so I will tell you a story of a time where I was kicked out of a popular DC nightclub establishment. I will tell you what happened. I'll tell you why I was kicked out. And it's actually kind of an epic story because I went with 4 people. And of those 4 people, 3 of us were all kicked out independently for different reasons. I will tell you the whole story.
Incredible.
Julia's jaw dropped.
Incredible. I love this. Who among us does not have an embarrassing DC 20s story if you did your 20s here?
I might not have embarrassing photos, but I can give you some embarrassing 20s Bridget in DC stories.
Oh my God,
if we meet our goal.
Please get us to 85 members because I want to hear this story.
I got to hear it. The FOMO of missing out on this fort tour because apparently the date has already passed and now we have to have a backup, and the FOMO of hearing this crazy Bridget 20s story. Guys, you got to make it happen.
Membership.citycast.fm.
Okay, so speaking of events like David's fort tour, what events are you all looking forward to in DC this month?
Okay, I had 3 events that caught my eye and I can't pick between them, so I'm going to let you guys pick. One is for artsy drinkers, one is for high energy foodies, and one is for nerds. Which one do you want?
How about the one for nerds?
Okay, so I am obsessed with the Library of Congress. Again, longtime listeners know this. They're going to be having this event called Inside the Dictionary and the Scripps National Spelling Bee event at the Library of Congress. The Merriam-Webster editor-at-large is going to be coming to the Library of Congress and talking about like the evolution of language in popular culture, how they pick the word of the year every year, stuff like that. So like I said, this is an event for nerds. But the part that I thought sounded really fun is that they're also going to be having a spelling-themed scavenger hunt and other word game activities to participate in something that language obsessed in the Library of Congress is a nerdy dream to me.
As a linguistics person, this like beckons to me. So like when is this? I need to go now.
Yeah, it is Thursday, May 22nd. It's at 6:30, so you can just hop on over after work. Sounds like a really fun time. If you are not into the nerdy stuff and you want some food and drink, the event for high energy foodies, as I labeled it, is a Tiger Fork Spring night market happening at the High Lawn. It's on the same day, so you won't be able to go to both, probably.
Can I clone myself to go to both? Is that allowed? Have we invented the technology yet?
I actually was working on that yesterday, and hopefully I'll have it ready for you, Julia.
If you go to membership.citycast.fm and become a neighbor, then maybe we get that tech and that goes to neighbors too. Who's to say?
Clone tech brought to you by CityCast.
That's happening, yeah, like I said, May 22nd. 5:30 to 10:30, the High Lawn, which is the rooftop of Union Market, is going to be converted into this night market, like a Hong Kong night market. So they're going to have illuminated lanterns. They're going to have these food stalls from guest chefs, artisan shops, cultural performances, baijiu bars, and sake bars. I assume that since Tiger Fork is co-hosting it, there'll be some like Tiger Fork inspired food. And I love Tiger Fork. It's one of my favorite restaurants in the city. So that was my high energy foodies event. And the artsy drinkers one is that there's this event called Drafts and Crafts happening at DC Brow, which is a brewery like in far northeast DC. And it's $40 to enter, but it's going to be like unlimited tastings of a bunch of different craft beers and then also a bunch of craft stations for people to do some arts.
Oh, that's so clever. Drafts and crafts.
Yeah, I think it sounds really fun. It's on May 31st from 1 to 6 p.m. It sounds like a really nice way to spend a weekend afternoon.
My question is, can you go from the Tiger Fork High Lawn event quickly enough to the dictionary event?
I think you're probably better served doing it the opposite way. Go to the dictionary event at 6:30. It'll probably be done by like 8 and then run over to the night market, which is open until 10:30.
Ooh, good game plan. Don't have to clone myself. Love that for me.
But I'll let you know if I get that technology working. I promise. What about you, Bridget? What's your event?
Well, mine also might serve like people who like to drink and also like culture. Longtime listeners know that one of my favorite spots in DC is Sun's Cinema. It is my favorite place to see a movie. It is my favorite place to like have a night out. It is a gem in the city and gem in Mount Pleasant. And they're actually celebrating their 9th anniversary of being in DC, which it seems like it just opened, but time flies. And so they're having a party to celebrate. It's called To the Nines. It's an anniversary party. They've got DJs. It starts at 9:30. Honestly, I remember when Suns opened thinking, protect this spot. Please let this spot last. When COVID happened, I was like very concerned, but I just think it's such a great cultural place in DC to see offbeat, weird films and drink good drinks. And I just really want to celebrate that they have really made it 9 years. That is really a feat. So I'll be there. Come out. I'm really excited.
That's amazing. Sorry, what day did you say it was?
It is Saturday, May 17th.
And do you have to pay to enter or anything like that?
Unclear, as is Suns' nature. Like, it's just like they put out their calendar, like a print calendar every May, and you kind of have to glean. As far as I know, it is just like a show up situation. But if I find out more, I'll let y'all know.
Okay, that sounds like so much fun. I love Sun Cinema. If people haven't been, it's in Mount Pleasant, and it's like this small little film house. I don't go nearly as often as I'd like because they're always sold out, which is great for them. I'm like happy for them, but also sad. So I hope I can just pop by for this one.
One tip is when they are sold out, if you're like a single solo person and you roll up and you're like, God, I really wanted to see Akira. Sometimes they'll be like, you're fine. Just you can go in.
Oh.
I don't know if that's like a blanket rule or maybe it's just a rule for me, but I've showed up without tickets and it's not been a problem.
I will try that. Absolutely.
Give it a try.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure they're like, why did she tell people to just like come without tickets?
We'll buy the tickets once we're there.
But it does sell out. Like, it is like, especially for good movies, it really is the intimacy of seeing a movie essentially in someone's like townhouse. It's what it feels like. And so there's not a lot of seats to begin with. But when there's a popular movie, it sells out so quick.
And I feel like even the ones that I've never heard of tend to sell out because it's the place where people are like, and I feel this way too. I'm like, if Sun Cinema is showing this, even though I've never heard of it, I'm sure it's going to be a ride.
Exactly. What about you, Julia? What are you looking forward to this month?
Okay, so my event, like I said at the top of the show, is free, although you can buy stuff at this event. It is happening this weekend. Quite literally, tomorrow on Friday and on Saturday. This is the All Hallows Guild Flower Mart. This benefits the gardens and grounds of the Washington National Cathedral, which if you haven't been, the gardens there are spectacular. Like everything is in bloom right now. It looks super pretty, but this event, the Flower Mart, has been running since 1939. This is the 86th festival, which is really sick. Again, it's a fundraiser for the cathedral's gardens and grounds, but to visit the Flower Mart, Friday, it runs from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. So if you're looking to play a little hooky from work, Priyanka, you could take a walk to the Flower Mart. On Saturday, which is probably when I'm going to go, it is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, this is at the National Cathedral. But basically what they have there is they have a bunch of shops. You can buy like fancy flowers and stuff. I don't have much of a green thumb, but my brother and my mom are really into plants. So if you're looking to refresh like your spring flower collection, or you're really into plants and you're into growing stuff, this is the time to do it. They also, and this is really freaking cool, have an antique carousel that dates back from 1890 and is one of only 2 surviving carousels manufactured by the U.S. Merry-Go-Round Corporation. And apparently the guild, who runs this event, bought this in 1963 and they restore it and refurbish it. So if you have little kids and you want to ride on this sick merry-go-round, take your kids too. Again, there's a bunch of different booths. There's a white elephant tent. You can buy like flowers. You can buy jewelry. They have one section called Around the World in Embassy Flowers. So each embassy has like a little flower display of stuff from their country or area. It's really cool. It's free. Go check it out. Yeah, but it's right around the corner, like literally tomorrow and Saturday. So get on it, guys.
Plan accordingly, people. Well, Julia, Priyanka, thank you so much for helping us do our best to bust FOMO in DC in May. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I have like a long list of things to do now. No time to do it, but you know.
Oh, this episode could have been like twice as long with twice as many events. So much stuff going on.
Honestly, this episode could be like an hour and a half. There's so many things to do.
And before we go, I want to give a big thank you to our newest CityCast DC neighbors, Uma K, Aji D, Lisa G, Herbert M, Jacob S, Raul J, Mark C, Benjamin D, Laura Ann T, Monica G, and Greg L. Thank y'all so much for joining. Your support means so much for the kind of work we're able to do here at CityCast DC. And if you haven't joined, we invite you to become a CityCast DC neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We will send you a beautiful neighbors-only mug as a special welcome gift. Again, that's membership.citycast.fm. That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, become a CityCast neighbor. You can sign up for just $10 a month at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with even more news from around the city. Talk to you then.